Yo people, welcome back. You already know what time it is. It's time for another YouTube video and I've finally got a collab on the way here. Look at this, it's Yan. We have not seen Yan since like the early birth of this channel where we had him, we had George, and it's almost been a year. So I was like, bro, it's actually mad how long it's been. Wow. I was like, we have to mash it up, we have to spot it up and get it done today, especially after what happened yesterday. But before we get into all that, Yan Football Therapy. Such a good name, by the way, because it is therapeutic what we need to do right now. How are you, my brother?
I'm all right, man. Yeah, we were just saying before we went live how, I don't know how you go on these shows and watch those kind of Chelsea games live on like a show, because I was absolutely bricking myself for the last 20 minutes of that game, man. So yeah, I'm good. I'm just about zen now. I'm ready to dissect it and do the post-mortem with you, Mar. So yeah, just good. I'm ready.
I can't wait, man. I mean, look, when a game is that highly charged, and I said it to you before we went live, it felt like Brentford were playing the Squid Game, and if they didn't score, they'd been eliminated. Like, it was like a relegation dogfight for them on the final day. The way that it was dashing, the ball into the box so, relentlessly. It was like, it's just like, relax, calm down. It
didn't make sense. Before. It doesn't. I don't know if that's sustainable for them, those vibes, but they're like on fast forward, aren't they? Their whole team's like been like 1.5 speed, and they're like, full stamina, and we're all just like, fight is like Saving Private Ryan shit. You know what I mean? Like jumping in the way and like, who's European champions here? But the narrative is written in games, isn't it? This is why we love football. Like, doesn't matter who's what. When you know the vibe of the game, when you get the feel, there's just a sense of inevitability. And although we were on the edge, I did feel like there was an inevitable. Everyone felt like for me, it was an inevitable. We're going to get through this because that's the narrative. We should concede, but we won't. Do you know what I mean? And that's
it's like Barcelona in the semi-final, just like clinging on for dear life. Do you know what I mean?
It's ridiculous. Brentford in the community stadium in the Premier League.
You know what it is though?
Like same vibes.
So much big up to Brentford though, because I said it in my preview. Like, I was expecting a tough game. Liverpool fans will tell us, West Ham fans as well. Like, they are a proper team this year. So big up to them. They are doing a madness. They remind me of the Sheffield United, the Blackpool, the Leeds, the first season, just causing chaos. But one thing that game did allow us to do is dissect and analyze now the day after and really discuss, because we said it before, like, this team may be top of the league, but one, this isn't sustainable to be, exceeding, XG in terms of Lukaku in the earlier games and not really creating many clear-cut opportunities, but also having Mendy bail us out with 3 or 4 world-class saves like he's prime De Gea. There needs to be more of a balance at both ends of the pitch in terms of just controlling matches like Liverpool did against Watford. We're nowhere near that right now. So if we're going to go into this title race and go and win and do it, we're going to need to fix a lot of issues. And I thought, what better way than to highlight maybe the 3 main components of the team, components of the team, which is defense, midfield, and attack. But I want to start with the attack because, as you said, this is like the main issue right now, is we are not a team that put teams to the sword. We don't score enough goals. We don't create enough clear-cut opportunities. We've had a new striker come into it with Lukaku, and he's gone 6 games, I think, without a goal in all competitions. He scored against France.
Great goal as well.
It was a great goal. Near post. Beautiful finish. I love it.
Great turn in the half space.
Oh, I love to see things like that. Werner scored 2 goals against North Macedonia, and a lot of people say the opposition, including myself, but the last time he played North Macedonia before that, he missed a sitter. So the improvement is great to see. He scored 2 great goals. When you put these 2 together, in the Chelsea team, though, right now, we're not getting goals. I mean, there were a few clear-cut opportunities that were missed yesterday. Lukaku, I think he may have been offside. He was pushed offside. I seen a
I love that. I mean, I hate it because it was our team, but I watched that, and I saw a match of the day this morning. I was like, fair play, bro. I hate it because I can say it because we won, but watching it back, I gave him a bit of a nod, that defender, because he's like offside.
Bro, it's literally the dark arts of defending. It was actually genius. I was like, that could have been a penalty if he had gone down. I don't know if maybe VAR look at that, but
Ron wasn't even involved because he's just like, the game is the game, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
It was brilliant because usually Ron, like, I'd say his timing of his runs is good. So I was quite surprised to see him. He can see the whole line. I was quite surprised to see him offside in normal time. And when you look back on the video and he's being pushed, I'm like, all right, that was quite intelligent.
Yeah, it's good. But on that, if I just want to, while you're talking about Lukaku, there's like a big, like, obviously we want him to score. He's gone without scoring. I don't think he was particularly bad in that game. He wasn't amazing. He wasn't optimized for attacking, but obviously there was that offside goal. He set up Werner for what should have been a goal. That's the counterpart that we can discuss. And other than that, like, for me, it looked like the years was being rolled back, and I thought it was, Didier Drogba on the post defending.
Yeah.
You've lost your video there, Matthew.
There we go.
Okay, you're back. Yeah. So it's the whole like thing, So when we actually took Lukaku off, we lost that man on the post, like defending these thousands of set pieces and attacks. So his contribution was important in that game generally for the win, I think. But yeah, we can talk about goals and chemistry with Werner and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, especially with that lineup, I think there was a link to the attack because we had ball carriers like Loftus-Cheek, like Mateo Kovacic, who will carry the ball and glide past players and create, angles like that. I think in terms of moving defensive shape, you've got movement, which Werner brings, in the pace. You've got dribblers, and then you've got elite passers. And those are like the three most common ways I can see to break down a defense. And we had the dribblers in Loftus-Cheek. There was a moment where Loftus-Cheek made a really good run, dribble past some players, got it into Werner, and then he couldn't quite get it out of his feet, and then we couldn't get the goal. But I feel like at the moment, especially when we could have gone 2-0 up, we just didn't have the player who could play that Fabregas pass early. Remember when Fabregas used to link up with Costa? He used to play the ball so early, beats the offside trap, and then, Diego Costa's racing away and lobbing the goalkeeper against Arsenal or something like that. There were so many times where I saw Lukaku make a run or Werner make a little movement, and
he did make runs. Yeah,
we're not spotting those movements early enough. I mean, do you think it's a personnel problem, or in terms of like the individual ability, maybe we just don't have this type of player in the team, or what do you think it is?
I don't think. Yeah. So I feel like there's two different things. I don't think it's an ability thing, because we saw Kovacic can play that pass, to Lukaku. I don't see Kante necessarily making those passes. I don't want to like make my final judgment on Ruben just yet when it comes to passing. I know he can pass, but he's got a lot to his game, Ruben. I think it's a psychological thing. Like I said this in my not match review, maybe possibly video today, about like for a while recently at Chelsea, it looked like, and this was a fleeting moment, it looked like Hakim Ziyech was the answer. Had that sort of like nonchalant, audacious mentality that Bruno Fernandes ping the ball to make that pass. And he always tries to frantically press as well, like I'm in the Premier League now. I need to press and stuff. I'm not doing the Ajax thing anymore. Do you know what I mean? I need to run out. But we've seen like, for different reasons, I said this as well, under Lampard, Christian Pulisic looked talismanic for our attack. Recently Hakim Ziyech looked like he's the different one out of all of them, like something you've just said, maybe come inside, play that ball, play that disguised pass, whip that long range shot. And I know that I've done a video about how, posing the question, are these two done? You can't say they're done till they're done, but do you know what I mean? You don't know now. And the attack at the moment, like you say, something again we were discussing before we went on air is that I was saying that Werner and Lukaku theoretically could work together really well, because they both like playing with a partner. They've both done their best work with a partner. Obviously Poulsen at Leipzig for Werner gave him a lot of space and means to be a bit freer and less responsibility and pressure, and we know he doesn't do well under pressure. And then Lukaku just vibing with Lautaro on the break and stuff, and being excellent, 11 assists, as well as loads and loads of goals in the league. I think when you say, if we're talking about play, Werner will always make the runs and draw people out. But if we really want the ball to Lukaku's feet to score goals, I think we need to just take a leaf out of Roberto Martinez's book for Everton and Belgium coaching Lukaku, because he got him playing in that right half space where for France, he turns and scores that beautiful goal. It's that place. He played right wing for Belgium and had an amazing game in the World Cup, I think in 2018. Literally played on the right wing. Yes, you can play him up front and he can be a focal point, a release valve to a degree, but he loves playing in that half space and turning and combining with forwards, and we haven't got him doing that at all for Chelsea. I trust Tuchel can find a way, but it's about those two finding chemistry and knowing what each other are going to do, and clearly they're nowhere near that yet, and that's fine because whatever, it's early doors. But in the meantime, get that person to just play forward or break the lines like Ruben, who I know we're going to discuss in a bit, or for the meantime, until they just feel each other better and have a better vibe, just play a front three and and play differently, I guess.
I think also on top of this is that Lukaku, I think, came out and said that almost, it's like people are, because of his stature and because of his physicality, people are assuming that he wants to always hold the ball up. Whereas, as you just alluded to, he is so good running in behind, running at players
massively
in that right channel for Everton, for Belgium, like you said, cutting in on his left foot sometimes,
for
or
Inter
even going
as
with his
well.
right.
Inter
as well, yeah.
Always doing that,
yeah, loved it. And the thing is with Lukaku, he's a very underrated finisher on his right foot, so he doesn't even have to go on his left. He can be unpredictable in that regard. Another extra element is Hakimi at Inter Milan. He was huge for him because Hakimi was such a great outlet. You know, he took players on, great cutbacks, and also he was, you know, in terms of assists, he was brilliant for him as well.
He knew what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
so,
and we saw in the transfer window links with maybe a Traore or Hakimi as well, who ends up going to PSG. Maybe that's an element of the team that Tuchel continues to want to improve. And maybe we don't even know. Maybe he was going to use Jules Koundé as a right wing back. I just don't know at this point. Like, to bring him in, he's a good dribbler, he's a good ball carrier. Maybe he was going to be a right wing back in this team. I know he's played centre back for the Sevilla team, but he is good going forward. He is good at stepping into midfield. He scored a great goal against Barcelona, which everybody looks at, and it's, you know, it's a fantastic
played right back for France and
played right back for France
and the Euros.
So maybe he was going to be that option. We just don't know in terms of, like, because Reece James is not really a ball carrier in terms of his dribbling. He's good
knock it forward and pass.
Knock it forward and cross, more of a kind of player. And Azpilicueta, you know, he's got some good assists, you know, this season. But again, he's not going to go 1v1 versus someone, whereas maybe Jules Koundé is a little bit quicker in that regard. It's
interesting. And that makes you think a little bit more. Like, from you saying that, it makes you think a bit more philosophically about why he's playing Hudson-Odoi at right wing back. Yeah, who's a great ball carrier, a great dribbler. You know, he's someone that to take on Jules with the ball at his feet. And, you know, maybe he said, look, you're clearly good at this, Hudson-Odoi, Callum. Doubt he calls him Hudson-Odoi. I want you to do this, have a crack, mate. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it is interesting. I think I'm still, you know, Reece James can still drop masterclass as a right wing back in a certain style. And I think certain games, even if it's not the game plan, we will still benefit of putting crosses in the box now because of Lukaku. He is really good at heading, regardless. Even if it's not his main thing, what he wants to do, he'd probably prefer, you know, running into the box for crosses rather than just being this lone figure that he's in the middle of the pitch with his back to goal. Do you know what I mean? Not that necessarily he's been that a lot, but yeah, there is a top of the Premier League after a lot of hard games. So, you know, we're a team with loads of attacking problems that needs to be sorted out. You'd rather be in that position than, you know, somewhere else in the top four realistically, or, you know, something like that.
100%. And I think when you look at Lukaku as well, he's got so many tools that he can use. Like you said, he's got the heading ability. He can shoot with both feet. He's strong. He's quick. He creates other chances. You know, creates chances for others with the assists to last season. The statistics. He's got so much, you know, going his way. I refuse to go into this narrative where we're a weaker team with him in it, and we should be going back to the team with the fluid front three last season and whatever. Because
it's nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, although that team was maybe better at pressing from the front, that team, the conversion rate was absolutely shocking. And we said we need a striker.
Exactly, and they were all young, like talented, silky attackers, but we needed a strong mentality out there. You know, Lukaku is a strong mentality. Yes, there are elements when you say he can get a little bit I don't know if that's the right word, upset when he sees the media criticizing him from when he thinks it's not. Yeah. But when he's feeling good and when he's feeling loved, he's a soldier, he's a warrior. And we didn't have that. Kai Havertz, amazing, silky, Kaká gliding like guy. He's just like a young, you know, guy. Do you know what I mean? Same with Werner, emotionally fragile. Mount, great, but he's playing, you know, they all had their frailties, and psychologically, Lukaku's a big tick, you know, the player profile of that. And again, I'll go back to being a leader all over the pitch and just winning those duels at the near post, doing what Didier Drogba was always there on set pieces. He did so many like headed clearances.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and he had that mentality of, I'm a leader and I'm coming out to help you. I'm not just going to, you know, we're together here. And I feel like we got a bit of that with Lukaku, and people can criticize all they want, but while, you know, we're sitting at the summit and we're analyzing how we need to be better, and we will be better, you know, let people talk, man.
Yeah, it's an interesting one as well with Werner, because Werner is such a crazy player to analyze. I'm sure you know, doing content as well yourself. It's like, this is a player that I love the attitude, I love the work rate, I love the commitment, I love the fact that he's a danger. He creates space. I call him the space creator. But he just can't finish. And there was an opportunity, like you said, that fell to him and he just skied it. You know, he tried to control it and put it in the top corner. He put it over the bar. Opportunities like that, he should at minimum getting on target. And it feels like every time he gets a bit of momentum, he gets some goals. Southampton, Macedonia, we start to think, oh, maybe.
For that goal against Macedonia, I don't care who it was. That second goal, it was like, you know, if Real Madrid Ronaldo does that, you go, hoo, we'll be talking about that on Monday. You know, against some farmers in La Liga. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? But like, when you just stop and go right. And put that there, you're like, oh, do you know what I mean? That is it was a banger. It was an absolute belter. It wasn't a tap in. It wasn't like a half decent goal. He's like, I already scored a goal. Watch this one, mate. And he banged, you know, an absolute worldie. So he can do it. He's scored goals all his life. Historically, he's very, very streaky. And that's one thing that perhaps us Chelsea fans didn't fail to look at closely enough, because we're like, he's just scored this many goals in the Bundesliga. You know, we're amazing. We're in. You know, but if you did put him under the microscope, he's always been a bit streaky. He's never had a dip as bad as last season. Yeah. But you could argue the transition from country might have something to do with that. And a lot of people think, you know, he might have something to go on now. I do think. We're obviously going to talk about the game and other players, and it's relevant, but I do want to obviously put in the caveat of it is a game that, you know, has echoes of recent performances. So contextually, it's right for us to talk about, but it is a game after the international break when all our players have been away, causing dysfunction. All the opposition's players, or I think most of them, are knocking about. Yeah, they're still on a massive high. They're still on, like you say, a Squid Game ting. They're like at the Brentford Stadium. So do you know what I mean? You like, okay, there is that, and I don't think we're going to talk about him today. But you know, lucky we've just got a thing about goal scoring left wing backs to bail us out in certain games. You know,
I know how much you love Chile B and how much you've been waiting for him to be back in the team. So mate, when he hit that, I was like, I thought of you and one other person that absolutely love him. I was like, yeah.
Well, to be honest, like, I mean, 3-3. I don't know. We don't know what happened behind the scenes, but big up Alonso. Scored amazing goals for us. Even has the odd game when he looks like a good all round left wing back or left back. Yeah, rare games. You can do it, but you know. Chilwell should have been in the team a few weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic finish, and it's much needed and appreciated because, again, you know, we needed to win this game. As difficult as it was with all those factors you mentioned, just if we're going to put up a title challenge, these are the kind of games that, regardless of performance, you get through them. You know, that alludes me to for me, in terms of a solution, I think, for this, I think I've said it before, I can't really blame Tuchel if he can't improve the attacking midfielders. He's improved the defense. He's improved even Kepa's fortunes. He's improved, you know, so many players in this squad. You know, he's put Jorginho on another level, etc., etc. Loftus-Cheek's got a comeback. You know, Sarr had a great debut. We'll get onto him. I can't blame Tuchel if he doesn't find the chemistry in this front three, because Pep, Klopp, they've been able to buy whole starting 11s, and that's fair play to them. They know how to build a squad. They've been successful. I think if Tuchel's mainly working with Lampard's players here. He didn't buy Ziyech, he didn't buy Pulisic, he's worked with Pulisic. That means he knows his pros and cons. Doesn't mean he was going to buy him. He hasn't bought Kai, he hasn't bought Werner just because they're German. So I think we have to, I'm going to give, you know, Tuchel time, of course, to try and work with these solutions. But if he can't find a solution, for me, the players should fall on the chopping board before Tuchel, because Tuchel has proved himself already at this football club. The players in that attacking midfield, they haven't. And I go through that array of attacking midfielders and they all lack a certain trait. Yeah. You
know, Tuchel is far, far cheaper to lose than hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds of commercial brand assets in players. Yeah. I know what you mean. But Chelsea and Roman want to win. We're blessed, mate. We are blessed. Because if we supported Man United or whatever, I mean, if it was Solskjaer's butters anyway, but if we supported, like, forget about who the manager is, if we supported that profile of club, that winning, it's not about winning, it's about continuing the brand awareness and revenue. Yeah. All the players are going to be priority, and you know, the manager, and that's it. But obviously, it sounds ironic from Chelsea switching managers all the time, but Chelsea want to win. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Ultimately, so they probably will do what's right. Ultimately, now they probably see Tuchel. Okay, we should, in this rare instance, stick with the coach because he's not challenging us. And on a slight tangent, I've been really, really methodically watching Tuchel ever since, because I mean, we all love him, but you know, there's this narrative of, oh, he's explosive. Dortmund, PSG, this is a disaster marriage waiting to happen. The Chelsea board with this kind of manager and this track record. And I've been watching him, and he's been obviously like the diplomat, the gentleman, the politician. He's up meticulously tiptoeing around everything. When the Super League came, Klopp was like, this is bollocks, and everyone hated it. But he was like, I trust my club. I trust my club. The Premier League recently, what was he being asked about? Something about when something was going wrong or being questioned. I can't remember, but he's like, I trust the league. He was being an absolute company man. He's like, I'm not going to upset anyone here. I'm going to just do this and do my work because he knows he's going given a lot of resources, like you say. And apparently, I don't know if this was from an Athletic podcast, but it was like a Chelsea insider thing that apparently Tuchel touched down and he was told, like, Chelsea's difficult, man, but he's dealt with the most difficult people ever at PSG. The most. And when he got to Chelsea and they were quite accommodating and said, what do you need? He's like, this is fucking chill. I'm not gonna, he's like, I'm not gonna mess this up. He's like, okay, this isn't that bad. This is way better. I'm not going to mess this up, and I'm not going to come across. Yeah, I've seen way worse. I'm not going to come across as this guy, and he's constantly like trying to, I don't need any more players. I trust the club. I trust the league. I trust my employers. Everything's
got a nice squad as well. Like, there's no egos in our squad. Like, it's quite a nice squad to work with in comparison to what he had. And I look at like Kai. He's still young and developing. Mason's still young. Pulisic is not fit, but he's still young. Hudson-Odoi. I think only Ziyech is the one attack. I'm like, you're in your prime, bro. You're running out of time.
Well, think about it as well. Like, our senior players are like the least toxic senior players ever. We've got people like N'Golo Kante. We've got Mr. Chelsea professional captain Cesar Azpilicueta.
Thiago
Silva, like the most professional. You might say maybe Alonso's got sort of like a rick in him or something. You don't know, but like it's still like a new gaffer and he's done well under him. So we don't have any problem characters. And when it comes to the Cobham kids, they've been brought up so well. The whole Neil Bath and the academy, they talk about how well they build the kids without egos. And you hear an interview of Billy Gilmore or Conor Gallagher, Mark Gurhey, Fikayo Tomori, the way these kids speak. Do you know what I mean? Like the way they talk to the media and the way they've been like bred really well. They just no toxic, which is great, 100%. Essentially.
Yeah, it's great to see. And I mean, for the final part, I really just want to give, because obviously, I mean, Loftus-Cheek is on a really good run of form. I spoke about on the byline yesterday. I feel like, he is maybe still, I want to look after him and not overuse him and, one game a week kind of thing. And just, I want the midterm to long-term, future for Loftus-Cheek to be good, not just a short-term impact player that we're getting right now where it's like, oh, we're enjoying this. I want this to last. But Malang Sarr made his Premier League debut and he kept a clean sheet. And this is a really big performance from him. Really, like it's a really big moment for him because it was his Premier League debut. I personally, I've seen a lot of talented defenders come and go in terms of Mark Gurhey, in terms of Tomori, in terms of Colwell's out on loan. I think they're a lot, technically, more gifted than him. So to see him come in over those players was a little bit difficult because I had my preferences, but he had a great debut and we did struggle in the air, but it was a very difficult game to come into. I think in the context of that being your first Premier League game, it wasn't an easy game to come into where you're not at home. You don't have a nicer opposition, maybe like a Southampton or someone like that. You're coming up against that Brentford team that are such an issue aerially and
in their house as well.
Yeah, in their house. They're going for knockdown, second balls, long throws, corners, and there's two up top and they're very physical as well. What did you make of it from him?
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because he didn't have a squad number at the beginning of the season. We didn't know, and like it's similar to like Barkley, Lewis Baker, all that kind of stuff. The thing is, Malang Sarr, he's not that tall. He's ripped, by the way. He's absolutely sculpted, that geezer. We've lost Zuma, and Zuma was like the rotational option at left centre back behind Rudiger. And we don't really. Christensen can move there quite capably. And I thought in my preview for this game, I had Christensen moves on the left, Azpilicueta on the right, and in the middle, Trevor Chalobah, because he's played CDM and he could probably play the middle quite fine. Competent back for it. And we didn't see that, obviously. Yes, it makes sense to have a left footer at left centre back. Malang Sarr is a left footer. The thing is, remember, people forget. Loads of people wanted to sign Sarr because he was a free agent, and he deliberately ran down his contract at Nice. Because he was like, options. I know good clubs want me here. He wasn't just some like random next signing Zappa Costa vibe. Do you know what I mean? He was like, Chelsea were like, all right, this guy's good. He's young. He's left-footed. A lot of clubs are looking at him. He's running down his contract. We'll give you peas, mate. Come sign for Chelsea.
100K.
Yeah. Is he on 100K?
Yeah.
There you go. But they were like, you're gonna have loads of money with us, and you might have a chance to play. We're gonna loan you out immediately. That was the thing. I think before Porto, they were gonna do 2 potentially better clubs, but it fell through. And people forget because we also signed Thiago Silva on a free, and that is like goated. But he was great business as well, man. He was great business. We got Malang Sarr on a free. He's this rotational option, and I feel like maybe not the same level as when Trevor Chalobah just came in and dropped to madness. But suddenly you feel like, you won't have that same if he starts another game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's the hope.
Superb work, man. I think he's done really well. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think on this channel that I've been a bit harsh in calling him a profit player in terms of the club bought him for free and they're probably going to sell him for 5-10 million, build him up to that value, and they're going to.
It's still true. That's still going to be true.
I personally think that's how it's going to end for him because that's just what I think their plan is, unless he just exceeds all expectations. And like I say, I think Levi Colwill at Huddersfield has probably got a much higher ceiling. So I don't have very long-term projections for him, but 100%, he performed much better than I expected. I was worried. I was worried when I seen him in the lineup. I had Trevor to play left side centre back because he played there quite a bit on loan last season for Lorient, but he came in and did his thing. And I think, in terms of the aerial duels were a little bit difficult for everybody that game. There was a lot of opportunities where I looked back on it, watching the game back, where balls came into the box and Sarr couldn't quite get the header as clear as we wanted. I think on the ground he was very good. In the air,
Lukaku was important in that as well. That's why I was saying winning those near posts. But just quickly on Sarr as well. 100%. Chelsea have almost certainly done that. They've signed a European player under the microscope for free that they can sell for 30 million, maybe they say. But it doesn't mean that if anything, that does mean he is a player.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing if he's a profit player. It's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, he's a profit thing as well. But people forget that the player himself, there's a reason, and you can drop him in, and even if he's not like Chelsea level, you're not dropping in some, a bum. You're dropping in this guy who was like wanted by loads of European clubs, and he's going to be playing for himself as well. So, I don't necessarily see, like I said, he didn't do a Trevor Chalobah, but he looked good, and if he has to come in for an injury or if he has to start a cup game or whatever, or whatever. I think he can get better
behind Rudiger.
Yeah, it's depth, and he can probably get better at training in the system as well. Like if we played that same game yesterday in 8 months' time, or how long the season is, in a few months' time, and they've played a little bit more together, and say he played a couple of cup games, he might have done even better. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
So
but before we go, I mean, I want to ask a question in terms of the run we've got coming up, because we've got a favourable run. Everybody's looking forward to it, but this is the Premier League. We know how it goes. Like it's not played on paper. How confident are you going into this run? Do you see, because what I hope is obviously that, Chelsea improve their attacking chemistry as the games go on, or do you think there's going to be quite a bit of rotation up there? Maybe we won't actually see the chemistry improve because there's going to be so many players coming in and out. What are your hopes? Do you want to see a pretty stable front three? And if so, who would that front three be, or front two? Or do you want to see rotation and, Hudson-Odoi come back in and get his opportunity? What do you want to see?
I'm massively conflicted, Matisse, because I tweeted out earlier, I know Diogo Jota has been wicked for Liverpool and he's dropped in fine, but if you look at the chemistry between Mane, Firmino and Salah still, those they know exactly where each other are, and there's something so enviable about that. There's sort of iconic front three that know it. And then Chelsea are the opposite of that. We've got loads of wicked talents and none of them sort of gel together and whatever. Liverpool up top, they're like a 3-piece suit, right? And and Chelsea, we've bought loads of Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana random accessories, and they're all different colors. Do you know what I mean? So Liverpool got this 3-piece suit, all in maroon or whatever. We've got all this random clunky gear that's really expensive.
Doesn't it look good? But
doesn't work. It doesn't go together.
It's a brilliant analogy.
Exactly.
Brilliant analogy.
I thought of it earlier. I was like, I'm taking that one. I'm taking that one to work. But so there is that. But at the same time, there's also horses for courses, Tuchel might think, actually no, because they do work in a certain way, but maybe they misfire every now and again. And Tuchel say, well, I can do it. I can bring this in. I can put my player on that left back's this, so-and-so's good at that. And he is very analytical for each game. So maybe that was the theme, wasn't it? He was like, I love this squad. And maybe he still feels like that. I don't want to judge too much, like we said earlier in the video, about this game after the international break. We got the W. We'll do some analysis, as in like the Chelsea will do some analysis and they'll hopefully get better. I am feeling good about it, but I'm feeling good about it because Mason Mount will back himself to find a bit of form again. There has to be some improvement between Werner and Lukaku. I don't have much hope for sort of Ziyech, but I again, like you say, Hudson-Odoi, he's backing himself at the moment, I think. So you drop him in. I think he can do all right. I think you could combine with Rum. I'm feeling pretty good, but I'm feeling pretty good because we just have an elite systemic way of defending. And we've conceded 3 goals all season. So, so like that's what I feel good about. But yeah, I don't really think about. I feel good about that, not because of the opposition we're coming up against, because it kind of almost means nothing to me at the moment in terms of Chelsea. Sometimes we've been undone by weaker teams.
Exactly.
So I'm feeling good though. I'm feeling good. I think we can take some points. I think we can hold ourselves
advantage
at the top. Advantage up the top, and touch wood, we develop some attacking chemistry, mate.
Yeah, that's the hope, because that's really the final jigsaw, I think, for this team. The defense has been brilliant. I can't believe Paul Scholes didn't want to give us our ratings, but it's fair. It's fine.
Did you see his Instagram? His Instagram post after yesterday?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, today I was live on Twitch while it was posted, and I was like,
when he's at Mendy's like
doubling down, right? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, he thinks it's got. I always love his scores, but I don't mind. I actually don't mind a lot of the ex class of '92 United boys. I really like Gary Neville, and I really like Roy Keane. I think he's like really funny. Plus, Roy Keane is a Gilmore and Mason Mount super fan, so we got to let him in. But so I quite always laugh at Scholes because he's so bloody miserable about United all the time, and it just makes me laugh. He's obviously doubled down. He's backed himself into a corner here. No matter what he says, if we've conceded 3 goals all season, you can't be saying, "Oh, Chelsea got bad defense." Or
we have the 4th best defense in the league.
Man United getting touched up 4 goals. Varane's out, great, but you still got Maguire and Lindelof, and Lindelof was okay. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't know. It's like. Yeah, whatever.
It doesn't really make any sense, to be fair, from Scholes, but it is what it is. If that's the juju, if that's the Rio Ferdinand juju to the Solskjaer, then I'll take it, and hopefully we end up winning the league. Defense win titles, people. Don't forget that. We just need to sort ourselves up going forward. We should be fine. But I love that analogy that you gave me earlier. That was brilliant. I might even quote that. I don't know. That was
mate. You can take it with you.
Well, people, that's the end of the video. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to Football Therapy. You already know where to find them at this point. Come on now, you should be clued up at this point. But if you're not, the link will be in the description, in the title. Make sure you go and subscribe. And from me, people, listen, you already know what to do. You know the icons, smash them up, do what you got to do. Hope you guys have enjoyed the collab, and I'll see you tomorrow. If you haven't seen the stream on Twitch with Liaz as well, the Man United fan, it was a great stream on Twitch. It was a fantastic timing as well. I can't really thank the gods enough for that one. And hopefully we're going to be celebrating many W's on this run. But like I said, we may be the top of the league, people. There are definitely things to improve. But that's just the high standards we hold here at the Mighty Chouse. I see you, people, in a bit. Peace. Perfect.